Yeah. All right. Back in my bedroom with my eponymous Sharknado poster, and I decided to record this pretty quickly. Because whenever I do like a video review of something, whenever I just record like my just after seeing it kind of thoughts, there's always one or two details that escape my mind, and the moment I stop recording is the moment I go, "Oh crap! I should have mentioned this." Um, and generally, I'm like, "Ah, should I go back?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't bother with it." But I decided this time I should. And the thing that I'm going to mention is two things. First is a small one with I've skimmed some reviews where they're criticizing the use of slow motion in this movie on par with Zack Snyder and 300 kind of idea. And yes, slow motion is used, but not to the extent of Snyder, not to the extent of 300, not to the extent of Paul W.S. Anderson. Paul W.S. Anderson in Resident Evils 4 and 5 and Three Musketeers uses it like crazy, and that works for. I'm also not using my tripod. That works for a very slick action film, and the slow motion here is definitely extreme slow motion, and there is some speed ramping, but is only done in points where it like enhances the drama, enhances the moment. Being done when mortars are being fired, when the shells are raining down upon the soldiers as they're retreating across the courtyard. Um, so no, the slow motion was not an issue. I never had an issue with it. I think some folks post once 300 hit. I think everyone got attached to speed ramping and extreme slow motion. Um, I think everyone immediately starts hating on it before considering the context. But even out of context, I still love it. I still love slow motion. I still love speed ramping. But personal taste. The second thing, the more important thing, I forgot to mention was Thomas Kreutzmann. His character, Peter Kahn, the German captain, has a relationship with a local girl named Masha. He goes to her. She lives in this cellar with lots of other families, lots of other people, and he basically characters refer to her as a whore. Um, I'm trying to find, I guess, collaborator. I don't even say collaborator. She's just one. She's his willing, unwilling local companion. I'm trying. I'm struggling to find the proper word for it, or a more polite word for it. But what struck me about the relationship, which makes it really interesting, and this is only something for an American audience, for an English speaking audience, or French, Italian, or Finnish, or whoever wherever you have where the audience is listening to the Russian and the German and getting the subtitles. It's incredibly voyeuristic and weirdly so. Um, I remember an interview with Steven Spielberg when he was talking about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and one of the themes, one of the elements he wanted to explore in that film was communication, and he thought one of the most interesting things was that pause between Frenchmen saying something in French, um, and then waiting for that translator to process and then say it in English and vice versa. And you as the audience are also in suspense for that. But overall, the characters more or less know what's going on. The characters, you and the characters find out what each other is saying. Here, you know what they're saying, but they don't. Kreutzmann's character Peter Kahn speaks nary a word of Russian. Masha does not speak a single word of German, but you, the audience, reading subtitles, um, know every single word, and that just makes it so personally and intimately voyeuristic and weird. I've never had that experience watching a film before. Because as an English, whenever I see an English language film that has subtitles for another character, I'm always getting one half of the conversation. That's why I don't think this viewpoint will not work with a German speaking or Russian speaking audience because they're getting half the conversation. But to an outside audience, it's really bizarre because you have him, you have Kreutzmann's character telling her that he loves her, but she says some, I forget the exact line, but it's to the extent of, um, you're a bit of a fool, or like, my people would kill you. It's a line like that, and he repeats it because it's like a short little phrase, like as long as I love you. It's like a 3 or 4 word phrase, and he repeats it as best he can in Russian because he thinks maybe she understands that bit of German and she's reciprocating his emotion. Um, and there are a few cases like that, or when you're introduced to her character for the first time, and she says you've been gone a week. I was hoping that you died, and he's saying, oh, how are you? Where's the food I've given you? This and the other, and it's this incredibly weird. Each way is a one-way street conversation. They don't, and this is not a relationship where, oh, they're speaking different languages, but they connect with each other. They understand each other at a deeper level. They don't understand each other. They try to understand each other as the film develops and film goes on. They try to Kreutzmann and Masha their relationship slowly evolves in a way they don't ever. I don't think they fully reach a point of full understanding, but it is really interesting and really, once again, it's just bizarre, and I've never encountered that watching a film before. That intimate voyeurism where two people who are kind of together, or just two people in a room, have no idea what's going on with each other. No idea that the other is not reciprocating the emotion, or can understand what they're trying to achieve. Um, but you, the audience, know. Um, so yeah, that was the big point I wanted to bring because that was just really cool, really interesting, and once again, I would say that's wholly unique for an audience outside of Germany or Russia. Um, but so yeah, so those are 2 points. But the big one was that language barrier on full display, which I thought was just really cool and interesting and weird and more voyeuristic than most films generally are. But so yeah, still on the whole, still watch Stalingrad. Great film. I loved it. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Um, so I'm gonna go upload these 2 videos to YouTube and probably spend most of tomorrow in a debate with an old classmate who didn't really care for the movie. So, ciao.